सब्सक्राइब करें परिष्कार कॉलेज यूट्यूब चैनल को और साथ ही बेल आइकन पर क्लिक जरूर करें, जिससे हमारे सभी वीडियोस नोटिफिकेशन सबसे पहले आप तक पहुंचे।
Hello students, myself Vanna. A warm welcome of you all in Parishkar International College. I will take your chemistry paper third, that is physical chemistry. Okay, and in today's lecture we'll discuss liquid state. Before that, do subscribe the Parishkar College and also press the bell icon so that you get all the notifications of the incoming videos. And also subscribe the Parishkar World channel on YouTube. Also press the bell icon so that you get the notifications of the incoming videos. Okay, so your chemistry contains 3 papers. In your 12th there are 1 paper of chemistry, but in your graduation or BSc first year there are 3 papers of chemistry. One is the first paper is the inorganic chemistry, and the second paper is of organic chemistry, and the third paper is of physical chemistry. Okay, now take a look on the syllabus of the third paper, that is physical chemistry. Your third paper of physical chemistry contains 5 units. The first unit contains 2 chapters. The first one is the mathematical concepts and the second is liquid and state. In today's lecture we'll discuss the liquid state. Okay, the unit second is the gaseous states, and the unit third is solid state. Unit fourth is colloidal state, and unit fifth is the chemical kinetics. About these all of units or chapters you have an elementary ideas from your basic class or your 12th classes. Okay, so topics in the first unit, that is liquid state, are: first topic is the structural difference between solid, liquid and gaseous states. The next topic is intermolecular forces, then types of intermolecular forces. The next topic is the structure of liquids, and then various theories of structure of liquids. The next is liquid crystals, types of liquid crystals, and then application of liquid crystals. In your liquid state chapter we'll discuss all these topics, but in today's lecture we'll discuss only the structural difference between solid, liquid and gaseous states. Means in today's lecture we'll discuss about matter and the 3 states of matter and the basic difference between these states of matter. Okay students, before discussing the topic or start the topic, let's have a look on the questions which comes from this topic in university exams. Okay, so first question is the structural difference between solid, liquid and gases. That is our today's topic, that is structural difference between solid, liquid and gases. After studied the today's lecture you will able to answer this question. Here is the some simple questions or objective type questions which you learn from today's lecture. When a solid converts to liquid, it is called. Means when matter converts from one state of matter to the other state, then or that state is solid to liquid, then what kind of process it will known? There are 4 options: sublimation, melting, and then condensation, and then vaporization. So after discussing the topic you'll able to answer these questions. The next question is the plasma is a state of matter. This is true or false? We'll discuss the answers of these questions after the topic. The next question is when a gas reaches its condensation points, it becomes. Means when a gaseous states reach its condensation points, then what kind of process it will follow. The next question is when solid reaches to their melting point, it becomes. Means when we provide heat to the solid state, then it changes or it starts melting, but when it reaches to their melting point, then this state will known as what? So these are the some simple sample questions of your topic. So let's discuss the topic and then we'll click on the answers of these topics. At first of all, we have to discuss what is matter, because we have to study about chemistry. Then we have must to know about the matter. So what is matter? Matter is any substance which have mass, volume and occupy space. Means matter is any substance, anything in this universe or the space or atmosphere which has some mass, has some volume and occupy space is known as matter. All everyday objects that can be touched or feel are composed of atoms. Means what is matter? Everything in the atmosphere or in our daily life which we can feel or which we can touch is composed of atoms. Atom is the smallest part of a substance. Then anything, any substance which we can touch, which we can feel is known as matter. Then what is not matter? Our feelings, our emotions, our imaginations, our thoughts, these don't have some identification, or we can say don't occupy space, we can't touch to them. Then these things, emotions, feelings, thoughts and imaginations can't be considered as a matter. We consider the things which we can touch, which we can feel by the touching and have some mass and volume and occupy space in the atmosphere are known as matter. As we can see that water has 3 states. Then it can be a solid, then it would be in ice form, it can be liquid state, then it will be in the water form, I mean in liquid state, and in gaseous states when it melts and comes in the form of vapors. Okay, so we are discussed that what is matter, because in our unit, in our paper, that is physical chemistry, there are 5 units. Out of these 5 units, we have the 3 units, that is first of all the liquid state, second one is the solid state, and third one is the gaseous states. So these all states comes from matter, means these are the states of matters. So because of this, or as a chemistry students, we must have to know that what is a matter. Okay, so now the states of matter. As generally we know that matter as a solid, matter could be a liquid and matter could be a gas. Then plasma is also a state of matter. Now then how will differentiate these states of matter, that what is solid, what is liquid and what is gases, and on the how basis and due to which reason we define these states. Means how can we distinguish between these states of matter, how can we distinguish that this is solid, this is liquid or this is gases, or what is the plasma. Okay, so we discuss or we defined matters on the basis of arrangement of particles. Means if I have this marker, then in this marker there are the small particles, small atoms are arranged in a manner. Means this marker is a whole matter, we can say a solid state of matter. Then in this marker the atoms are arranged regularly. Then the arrangement of atoms means we differentiate states of matter on the basis of arrangement of particles or atoms, that in any state how manner the particles are arranged. The next one is the energy of particles. Then how these particles are arranged, then on how means what type of energy or how much energy it will take to arrange, or how much energy it will release if we convert these from one state to another state. Then the distance between particles. The next property is distance between particles. Means matters, how we differentiate the states of matter on the basis of three types: arrangement of particles, energy of particles, and the distance between particles. Before discussing these differences between solid, liquid, gases, take a look on this structure of a solid, liquid and gases. So in gaseous state, you can see that particles moves randomly in space, or they occupy the whole the space of a container. Here is the liquids, and liquid particles also have some moment. They move in the space but don't occupy whole the space of the container, but gaseous particles occupy whole the space of the container. So solid particles don't move, means they have the fixed structure, or they have the fixed shape and size. Okay, now start to discuss individually about the states of matter. The first one is the solid states, means how you define that what is a solid. So in the language of science, solids have definite shape and definite volume, means solids are which have definite shape and definite volume. Then particles of solids are tightly packed and vibrating about its fixed position, means we can say that solid is anything, any substance which have definite shape, definite volume and vibrate on its mean position. तो particles of solid कैसे होते हैं? Particles of solids, or we can say the state of solid, have definite shape and definite volume, and they can vibrate only on its mean position. They can't move from one place to another place. Okay. The next one is the liquid. The liquid state, which is our today's chapter. Then liquids have indefinite shape, means there is a difference between solid and liquid. In solids, we said that solids have definite shape, but liquids have indefinite shape, means solids have definite shape but liquids have indefinite shape. What is that meaning? And have definite volume. And solids have definite volume, but liquids have definite volume but do not have definite shape. What it means? They occupy the shape of the container. In any container we'll put the liquid, then it occupy the shape of that particular container. If we'll put the liquid into a bottle, then it will occupy the shape of that bottle. If we'll put into a bucket, then it will occupy the shape of the that bucket. And if we put the water in a bowl, then it occupy the shape of this bowl. That means water or liquid have definite volume but do not have definite shape. It can occupy the shape of according to the container. In which type of container we are putting the liquid, then it will occupy the shape of that particular container. Particles of liquids are far enough. Particles of liquids are far enough apart to slide over one another. Means in solid state we said that particles vibrate on their mean position. Solid particles are arranged in a regular manner. They have fixed shape. Then they only vibrate on their mean position. But liquid particles slide over one another. Means it means liquid can move, but solid particles can't move. Okay. Now gaseous states. Gases have neither definite shape and nor definite volume. There is a difference between solid, liquid and gas. We can distinguish the states of matter on the basis of their shapes and their volumes. So as we said, in solids they have definite shape, definite volume, but in liquids they have definite volume but do not have a definite shape. As a gases do not have, neither have definite shape nor definite volume. It means particles of gases moves randomly in space. Whatever container will take, the particles of gases will occupy whole volume of that particular container, and they can move in whole the space of that container. Means gaseous particles moves randomly in space because they do not have definite shape and they do not have definite volume, and they occupy whole the shape of that particular container. So this is the basic difference between solid, liquid and gases. Now take a look on plasma. Plasma is an ionized form of gas. Plasma, like gases, have an indefinite shape and an indefinite volume. Plasma is also a state of matter. Then what kind of state it is? It is the ionized form of gases. Means we have to take a look on the process. If initially we have solid, and then if we provide heat to this solid, then this solid will convert into liquid. Okay, and again if you further provide heat to this liquid, then it will convert into gases or vapors state. Further, if you provide the heat to the system or gases, then it will convert into plasma. Means in gaseous state, particles or molecules of gases moves freely, but in plasma state, these molecules of gases are further ionized. Means if we have any gases, then it will decompose into positive and negative ions. Okay, it means plasma is an ionized form of gases. इसको समझने के लिए हम ये देख सकते हैं कि जब बारिश होती है, जब बिजली कड़कती है, तो वो जो स्टेट होती है, वो जो बिजली फ्लक्चुएट करती है, वो जो स्टेट होती है मैटर की, दैट इज नोन एज प्लाज्मा. Here is phase transformations because we studied the states of matter. Then these states can be interconverted into one another. So here is solid. If we convert, or directly we can say, if directly solids converted into gases, means as much heat we provide to the solid, that will convert into gases directly. Then what kind of process it is known? It is known as sublimation. Means we have any solid compounds or substance and we provide heat, then it will directly converted into gases. Not first convert into liquid and then gases. It will directly converted into gases, then it will known as sublimation process. The next one is if these gases start to condensate and it will convert into solid, directly into solid, then this process is known as deposition. When a solid provides heat and when it will convert into liquids, means at that point where and that temperature where the solids converted into liquid or the solids melt into liquids, then this state and that point, that temperature is known as melting point, and the process is known as melting. Now when this liquid is converted into solid, means when the liquid is converted into solid, means the liquid state of a matter when converted into solid, then this process is known as freezing, and that temperature at which a liquid changes into solid is known as freezing point. When a liquid changes to gases is known as vaporization. Means if we have liquid and we'll start to heat it or we provide heat to it, then when it converts into vapors or gaseous state, this is known as, the process is known as vaporization. And condensation is what? After that, again, if this gases is converted into liquid, is known as condensation. We discuss the state, the solid converted into gaseous states or solids converted into liquid state, how the liquids converted into gaseous states and vice versa. Okay. Now the first topic of our unit is the structural difference between solid, liquid and gases. We'll discuss the individual properties of solids, liquids and gases. What we call solid, what we call liquid and what we call gases, we already discussed. Now take a look on the differences, then how we'll compare these properties with the different states of matter. So here is the different states of matter, and the structural difference is the first of all, that is you can see here the solid, liquid and gases. The difference you can see here that the particles of solids are arranged in regular manner or in a regular pattern. The particles of solids are arranged in a regular manner. They have a fixed shape, but the particles of liquids have some vacant space, or they have some space so that they can move on each other. Here is gases. The particles of gases are randomly arranged. They can move in all the space available there. Now the arrangement of particles we discussed already, that in solids the arrangement of particles is regularly arranged. They have a fixed pattern to arranged, means they will arranged in a definite manner, in a definite structure. Then arrangement of particle will be regular. But in liquid state there will be randomness as compared to solid state. Particles of liquids do not have the manner as the solids, means solids have regular arrangement but liquids have random arrangement as compared to solids. Then gases particles moves freely in the space, then they have the randomly arranged, means they can't arranged in a fixed manner or in a fixed regular arrangement. Particles of gases moves freely in the available space, then they have randomly arranged, means there is no arrangement of particles of gases. Now the movement of particles, means as we said that particles of solids have fixed shape, fixed volume, then the particles of solids moves on their own position, on the space. They'll vibrate on their own mean position. But particles of liquids moves on each other because they have available space to move. They have vacant space to move. Here is the particles of gases moves randomly in space in all directions. You can see here that particles of solids have regular arrangement, regular pattern, and they vibrate on their mean position. They can't move, they can't show the translatory and rotatory motion. They can show only vibration on their own position. Here is the movement of liquid particles. Liquid particles can move on around each other. You can see here the water can move freely. Then it means they have some vacant space to move. But in solid case there is no vacant space to move. Here is the particles of gases which moves randomly in space. Now the particles of gases moves randomly in all directions, as we already discussed that particles of gases moves freely in the available space. Now the next difference is the distance of particles. Distance between particles of solid is minimum, means they have negligible distance. Particles are very close to each other. In liquids the particles have some space, they have some distance, they have some intermolecular distance as compared to solids. In solids they do not have any space to move, but in liquids they have some available intermolecular distance to move. The particles of gases moves freely in space. They have a lot of intermolecular distance to move in the space. The next difference is shapes and volumes. We already discussed that solids have definite shape and definite volume. Liquids have definite volume but do not have definite shape. They occupy the shape of the container in which they are carried. Okay. Now liquids do not have definite shape but have definite volume. They occupy the shape of the container. The next one is the neither gaseous state, which neither have definite shape nor volume. You can see here also that if you take example of NaCl, then NaCl is sodium chloride, has the structure of FCC, phase cubic structure. Then this structure is very compact. They have fixed shape, fixed volume, and the arrangement of particles is very regular, means they have a regular pattern or arrangement of the particles. But liquids occupy the shape of the particular container. Then here the gases particles are neither have definite shape, neither have definite volume. They will occupy all the volume of the container or a space. What is compressibility? Compressibility is if we apply the pressure to any substance or any particular state, then if the reduction in the volume to the original volume is that reduction defines the compressibility, that how much amount is compressed or reduced is known as the compressibility. Now in solid state, solid particles do not compressed. As you can see that I have this marker. If I'll apply the pressure on this marker from both the sides, then this will not reduced. It can't be compressed. Then the solid particles are incompressible. They have negligible compressibility. Liquid particles have some compressibility as compared to solid particles, but very less. They also have lesser tendency to compress. Here the particles of gases, you can see that if we apply the pressure, then the volume of that container is get reduced. Means whenever we applied the pressure to the system, then the volume at initial state before applying the pressure, it occupied the whole space available of that container. But after applying the pressure, it volume will get reduced. Means that reduction in volume is known as compressibility, that any substance is compressible or not. If there is a reduction in volume, then we call it as a compressible. Then solids are incompressible, liquids are very less, or comparative to solids are compressible but very less. Solids and liquids are generally incompressible, but gaseous states are compressive in nature. Now the intermolecular forces. What is the intermolecular forces? As we said that intermolecular forces are the interactions between or Coulombic interactions between atoms, molecules or particles. If the particles attract to each other, if they can have the opposite charges, then they will show attraction towards each other. If they have similar charges, then they will repel each other. Then these kind of interactions is known as intermolecular forces. So in solids, the intermolecular forces are very strong. As we discussed already that the particles of solids are very composed or very regular arrangement of particles. Then it means they are hold each other very strongly. Substance of solids have definite shape. Then how they have definite shape? Why? Because they have the strong intermolecular forces. The particles of solids hold each other with the very strong interactions. That's why they form the fixed shape. Now in liquid state, weak comparative to solids. The intermolecular forces as compared to solids, liquid states have less interactions or less strong, we can say, as in liquid state, but in solid state the intermolecular forces are very strong. But in liquid state, if we compare with solids, then they have lesser intermolecular forces than solid. But in case of gases, you already know that we discussed about the van der Waals forces. Van der Waals forces are the weakest forces which exist in gaseous states. Gaseous states particles are move freely in space. Then they have a lot of much difference in distance. They have a lot of distance from each other, and they do not show the interaction towards each other. Means they have least interactions. If we'll apply the pressure, or we can say reduce the temperature, then they can show the interactions. But at initially, if we generally discuss about the gaseous state, then the intermolecular forces between gaseous states are the weakest, or we call them the van der Waals forces. Here is the entropy. Entropy is what? Entropy defines the randomness, the arrangement of particles. They defines the how much randomness in the arrangement of particles. So if we talk about the solid, then you already know that solid particles have fixed volume. Particles are regularly arranged. They have strong intermolecular forces. Then they have negligible entropy. The entropy in solid state is negligible. They do not show randomness. Randomness occurs where the arrangement of particles is random. In solid state, particles are already arranged in regular pattern. Then in solid states, the randomness is negligible. Here is randomness in liquid state, because you know that particles of liquids move in one place to another or move on each other. Then the particles have the ability to move. Then they can show some randomness as compared to solid. The entropy or randomness is highest in the gaseous states, because we know that particles of gases occupies the space of that particular container, and the particles have weakest interactions. Then the particles of gases moves randomly in space, and that's why they have maximum randomness or highest entropy. The next is the diffusion. Diffusion is the properties of disperse, means any substance which get disposed into another. Then if we discuss about solids, then solids do not show the property of diffusion. In solids is very less. Particles of solids do not have the property to disperse or to get dispersed some substance into them. Liquids have tendency to diffuse, but less as compared to gases. Then particles, if we put something in water, that means any substance or any color, then this color will dispose into the particular solution. Then liquids have tendency to show diffusion, but this is, if we compare this with gaseous state, then this diffusion is very less. In the gaseous state, the particles have very much vacant space to get dispersion or to show diffusion. Means if we add something into this, then gaseous particles get highly tendency to diffuse. We'll discuss that the compressibility, the tendency to show compressibility in solids is very less, means particles of solids are incompressible, but liquids show some compressibility as compared to solids, and gaseous particles are compressive in nature. Then what is this compressibility, or how we can calculate it? Is at constant temperature, at a fixed temperature, if pressure on a definite amount of a substance is increased by unity, the ratio of reduction in volume to the original volume is known as compressibility factor. Means if we apply pressure on any substance at a constant temperature, we can't change the temperature will be constant, and on constant temperature if we apply the pressure, then on applying the pressure, if the volume get reduced, then by which factor this volume get reduced is known as compressibility factor. If I have a container, and in this container the gaseous particles are move freely and they occupy whole the space of this container, then if we apply the pressure on this container, then after applying the pressure, the particles which occupy whole the space in this container before applying the pressure, they'll get reduced and they'll occupy the lesser volume as compared to before. Then this reduction in volume, this much free space they have, then this ratio of reduced volume and original volume, means the ratio of reduced volume to the original volume is known as compressibility factor. Let's take a look on how we calculate it. Is if volume of liquid is V0 at 0 degree Celsius and 1 atm pressure. If we take the normal temperature pressure, then on this, if initially the volume of liquid is V0, if volume of liquid is Vp at P atmospheric pressure, then what we call it is that initially if we have V naught volume and after applying the pressure P, what is the definition of compressibility? If we increase the pressure by unity, then after the pressure P, the volume is known as Vp, means the volume at pressure P. Then this reduced volume, the ratio of this reduced volume to the original volume is known as the compressibility factor. If we want to calculate it mathematically, we can calculate it as V naught is the initial volume at the pressure is atmospheric pressure 1 atm, and at P pressure it is Vp. Then we have to calculate the reduced volume, then we have to eliminate it from V naught minus Vp upon V naught into P minus 1. What is this? This is the ratio of reduced volume to the original volume. Okay, then this factor, that is known as compressibility factor. So you can calculate it as, because we have to calculate the reduced volume, that is Vp at pressure P, then how you can calculate it as V naught minus Vp upon V naught into P minus 1. Here is the K, that is compressibility factor. Then you will get V naught minus Vp is equal to V naught into P minus 1 into this K, that is compressibility factor, and you can multiply this with this also and with this also, and you get that Vp is equal to V naught minus, that is V naught minus V naught K into this K into P minus 1. So here we can take V naught outside, then we get 1 minus K into P minus 1, that is the reduced volume at pressure P. So this volume is known as the reduced volume, and this K is denotes the compressibility factor. Okay students, so I hope that you get that what is the compressibility and how we define the compressibility. The next is the thermal expansion. You know what is expansion? Expansion is the increase in the volume to the original volume, and the compressibility is the reduction in the volume to the original volume. So how we define the thermal expansion? We call it thermal because it is expansion occurs when we provide heat to the system. Here at a constant pressure, if the temperature is increased by 1 degree, then the ratio of increase in volume and original volume is known as thermal expansion coefficient. What is we call expansion is what? Expansion is if I have this container, and in this container the particles are occupied in this space, but they have this free space. Then if we provide heat to the system, then after getting heat, the particles which is occupy this much space will occupy whole the space. It means after increasing the temperature, the volume will increase. Means when we apply the temperature to the system, then volume will get increased. Then this is how much increase in the volume is that much free space which is available. Then this increase in volume is known as expansion. Here is volume increased, then this increase in volume is known as expansion. Okay, so now we have to calculate the thermal expansion coefficient. So as we said that if we increase the temperature by 1 degree and kept the pressure constant, then the increased volume to the original volume, then this ratio is known as the thermal expansion, and if we denote it by the coefficient, then it is known as thermal expansion coefficient. So as we know that V naught is the volume at 0 degree Celsius temperature, means initial volume is V naught at 0 degree Celsius temperature, and Vt is the volume at T degree Celsius temperature. Means if we increase the temperature by 1 degree, then the Vt is the volume at the T degree Celsius temperature. Okay, you can solve it as that Vt minus V naught. Vt is the volume at T degree Celsius temperature and V naught is the initial volume. To the V naught, it is equal to alpha T, that is expansion coefficient. So you can solve it as Vt upon V naught minus V naught upon V naught, that is equal to alpha T. This will cancel out and you will get Vt upon V naught minus 1, it is equal to alpha T, and if you get solve it, then you get Vt is equal to V naught into, here is minus 1, then it comes there, then it will get of plus 1, then you can write it as Vt is equal to V naught into 1 plus alpha T. So this is the expansion in volume. So this alpha T is the thermal expansion coefficient. Okay students, I hope that you get all the topics clearly, understand that what is the structural difference between solid, liquid and gases, what is compressibility, what is thermal expansion. So the difference between solid, liquid and gases we briefly discussed in this topic. Now let's solve the questions which I introduced you already, that we will solve some questions on based on today's topic. So here is the question which is asked in University of Rajasthan in 2017, the structural difference between solid, liquid and gases. So you can solve this question by this today's lecture, that we discussed all the differences between solid, liquid and gases. So what is the differences? We know that first of all, the arrangement of particles. On the basis of arrangement of particles, we know that solids are arranged in a regular manner, liquids are less mannered as compared to solid, but gases are randomly arranged. Then the second one is the intermolecular distance, and you know that in solids there is a negligible distance between particles or atoms. In liquids there is a space more as compared to solids, but lesser as compared to gases. But in gases there is a large intermolecular distance between gaseous particles. And then intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces are very strong in solids, less strong in liquids as compared to solid, and weakest in gaseous states. Gases neither have definite shape nor volume. So these are the differences between solid, liquid and gases. And recently we discussed the compressibility. The compressibility, solids are negligible, compressible, and also liquids are very less compressible but more as compared to solids, and gaseous particles shows compressive nature. Okay students, so now the next question is, when a solid changes to liquid, it is called what? Means when the state of matter from solid to liquid, it changes to liquid, then what kind of process we call it is? As you know that when a solid directly changes to gases, we call it as a sublimation. Okay, and then when a solid changes into liquid, we call it as a melting, and that temperature is known as melting point. Here we have to answer the changes of solid to liquid. Then the right answer would be the melting. The process is known as melting. And vaporization is when a liquid changes to gases, then this process is known as vaporization. Then the right answer of solid to liquid is the melting. Okay students, so the next question is, the plasma is a state of matter. Plasma is a state of matter, true or false? Then we discussed in today's lecture that plasma is an ionized form of gases. Then the right answer would be true. That means plasma is also a state of matter. The next question is, when a gas reaches its condensation point, it becomes. Means when a gas converts into or it starts condense, then the process or that state is known as what? The right answer would be liquid, because we know that when a gas changes start to liquid, then it is known as a condensation. Okay, so the right answer would be liquid. When a gas reaches to its condensation points, means when the particles of gas starts to condense, then the changes it changes from gases to liquid, then this state is known as liquid state. Now the next question is, when a solids reaches their melting point, they becomes. We discussed already that when a solids changes to liquid, then this temperature is known as melting point and the process is known as melting. Then the right answer would be the liquid, that when a solids changes to liquid, the process is known as melting, and at particular temperature, if the solids get melts, then this particular temperature is known as melting point. Okay students, do subscribe the Parishkar College channel on YouTube, like it, share it with your friends, and also press the bell icon so that you get all the notifications of the incoming videos. Also subscribe the Parishkar World YouTube channel and also press the bell icon so that you get all the notifications of the incoming videos. Okay students, I hope that in today's lecture you get a general discussion or introduction about the states of matters or the basic difference between solid, liquid and gases. In next lecture, we'll discuss the topic that is intermolecular forces of the liquid state. Till then, thank you.
सब्सक्राइब करें परिष्कार कॉलेज यूट्यूब चैनल को और साथ ही बेल आइकन पर क्लिक जरूर करें, जिससे हमारे सभी वीडियोस नोटिफिकेशन सबसे पहले आप तक पहुंचे।